Let's go. Let's go.
Hello and welcome to Lakeside Stadium. It's round 17 of the Victorian NPLW and we have South Melbourne taking on Box Hill United in a tasty clash of these two sides. Let's run through the starting lineups for both teams. Starting in goals for South Melbourne is number 32, Ayana Ayogi. Then Annabelle Hafferden, captain Francesca Iamano, Akeisha Sandu, Raquel Doralis, Misha Westland, Nikki Furukawa, TJ Vlanich, Alana Byrne, Grace Taranta, Eva Guzman. So a couple of changes from the side that went down to Brunswick Juventus last week. Alana Byrne returns after suspension. Ayana Ayogi is starting in this game. First time we've seen her play since South Melbourne played against Spring Hills back in round 7. And for the visitors, Box Hill United will be starting number 3, Josie Alancino, number 4, Olivia Alice, 6, Zoe Hudson. Zoe Hudson's will not be starting. 9, Karina Rossi, 10, Captain Rihanna Policina, Katie Cox, Sophia Paliwoda, Sienna Teixeira, Maho Murakami, Ellen Parberry, Sophia Sakalas, and in goals will be Teresa Morrissey. She played, and so a couple of goalkeeper changes as well we've seen for both sides in this game, and it is a battle between 4th and 7th. South Melbourne holding on to those finals positions, and they've had a brilliant record at home so far this season.
Let's go!
A-League women players that they've had come in. And last time these two sides faced off against each other was back in round 6. It was a 4-1 victory to the home side in South Melbourne. Goals to Mamiambo, Cooling, Byrne and Doralis were enough to secure the win. Gabby Simpson for Box Hill also got on the score sheet that day too. So looking for what's likely to be a high-scoring affair for both sides. This is the 49th time that these two sides are facing off, and we've never seen a 0-0 draw. But it is a remarkable record in favour of Box Hill, especially through their power years in the early 2000s. In the last 5, well, we've seen 2 wins to South Melbourne, including that one in round 6, 2 draws, and a singular victory to Box Hill back in round 20 last year, the last time they met in the last season. The referees for today's game is Courtney Van Diesen. The assistant referees are Denise Homer and Audrey Azzopardi. The 4th official is Labrini Oliaris. Both teams now getting ready. Final words being said. Of course, the final rounds fastly approaching in this season. Every point matters. Of course, we've seen the introduction of many A-League women's players now that transfer window has been completed, and you can definitely see it in that Box Hill side with the introduction of Teresa Morrissey in goals, and as well as Sienna Teixeira, Sofia Xcalis, Karina Rossi, and Rihanna Policina. So plenty of talent across the board. And of course, plenty of players who also have A-League women experience. TJ Vlanich won that championship with Melbourne City. Won the Premier's Plate with Melbourne City a couple of months back. Also had that experience in the Asian Women's Champions League. Raquel Doralis, of course, played last year with Aston Royals, had some experience at West United. Unfortunately, didn't have the most time on the pitch due to injuries, but now has been starring for South Melbourne this season. She gets us underway. Immediately back to Westland. Pushing up the side was Taranto. And a big cheer from the Box Hill bench. The long thrown option slides over the head of Alice, and Doralis just making sure it bounces in her favour before letting the ball come to her. So 2 quick throw-ins on the same side, just progressing down the line for South Melbourne early in this match. And the ball eventually bubbling out. It's quite a windy day here at Lakeside. You can definitely see it in the corner flags and feel it here in the stands. Morrissey will get her first kick of the game through that goal kick. Back and forth with Paliwoda. Alicino doing very well to keep off Sandu. So Carlos picks up the ball. Anytime that she picks it up in the midfield, it seems like it's a dangerous position. Just a little too much in the pass going backwards. Guzman picks it up for South. The role of Josie Alacino will be really interesting in this game. In the first couple of weeks, saw her play as a winger. Had a brilliant game against Brunswick Juventus, but in recent weeks has been really in that back line. Doralis just applying pressure through the press. Call for support from Palawota. Has to be fast on her feet to get to the loose ball. Murakami, Teixeira, beautiful delivery into Rossi. She scored last week, pegs it back. Policina connects with the boot, but the wind really carrying it in the air. In the end, Katie Cox ran out of room. So lots of volume on the pitch. Blanche to take the throw. Serbian international. Wonderful throw all the way down to Doralis. Now Iamano causing trouble in Palawota. Policina coming down in support. Looks long. Westland just able to keep that ball close. Waves away the hand of Maya Murakami, and that's really the first foul we're going to see conceded in this game. Fair distance out. Well, South Melbourne, they booked their place into the Nike FC Cup final Wednesday, after quite a disappointing loss against Brunswick Juventus. Now Iamano, and we'll see the first corner kick of the game. Just unable last week in that game against Brunswick Juventus to find a shot that really connected with the back of the net. They ended up going down 3-2. Got the wing over Bulleen on Wednesday night. Now looking to get some valuable points. And referee Courtney Van Diesen just going to have a little bit of a chat with the players surrounding the goalkeeper. Looks to be something just on the face of Karina Rossi. Oh, sorry. Potentially Annabelle Hafferden, so she'll have to come off the pitch for a moment. Sandhu to take the corner kick. And connected with the head of Doralis, but slides over the top of the net. So Annabelle Hafferden having to quickly receive some medical attention from what appears to be from quite some distance. Some sort of blood rule on the face. So South will be forced to play with 10 for a while, and they'll have a bit of a makeshift backline. You can see Misha Westland has immediately slotted in support in that centre back position. Teixeira now on the run. Looks to try and take on Vlanich. The first touch from Cox a little heavy, but the offside flag goes immediately up in the air. Ball bobbling around their heads. Just enough there from Cox to direct it forward. And it's a long distance strike from Rossi, who just didn't have enough power behind to really give any trouble to Ayana Aogi. Yamano looking to use her speed and really shut down the options from Palawoda. Be a difficult throw out of it. Deep within their own half here for Box Hill. Policino with an excellent touch. Ball just bouncing directly up into the hand of Iamano. Been a bit of an arm wrestle early in this match. Still within the first 10 minutes. Policino coming up to try and build all the way from the back. Sakala's just beautiful touch out wide. Palawoda. Sides play back to Olicino. Policino could just spot just the movement there from Parberry, but just a little bit too much. The wind picking it up at the final moments to really float that ball over the sideline. Finish, might as well just put that mighty left boot and let it connect. Now the press being applied in almost full force by South Melbourne. Bugs will have to be very clear and direct with their passes to try and break through. Now building up from that left flank. Brought back in the middle to Policino. The ensuing ball from Furukawa just into space where there was about 3 defenders for Box Hill, so able to bring it out. Vanish again, just beautiful at cutting off that angle to not allow the pass all the way through into Tekchera. Smart from Iamano just to use the line to her advantage. Guzman lets the ball under her feet. Sees the switch to play to Furukawa. Heffernan now back on the pitch and definitely back into contention. Quite a cool day here, of course. This is a double header. The South Melbourne men's team will be taking on Altona Magic at 5 p.m. at this very venue as well. Of course, you can listen in to all the coverage on the NPL Victoria's YouTube page. Doralis Byrne knew that Taranto was back in support, and Box Hill quick. Just push up. Finish looks up and a beautiful ball over the top, and fortunately I think the intended target was Iamano, but straight to the feet of Teresa Morrissey. Murakami. Ball comes to Tekchera. Lovely pass in. And a very strong goalkeeping work from Ayana Aogi. Karina Rossi looked like to be the intended target. Owen Parberry also really floating up in support. We've seen Parberry in a couple of matches in this game be really instrumental in the build-up playing. Might not get the full assist each time, but sometimes the secondary assist. Rossi goes down and eventually the whistle blows, so an opportunity here for Box Hill. Curious to see if we'll see Policina or Sofia Sakalis take the free kick. Policina stands over the dead ball. Makeshift wall from South Melbourne from Doralis. And Furukawa. Policina pumps it long and connects with the boot of Sophia Palawoda. And off a deflection of South Melbourne in the end. So not the worst outcome for Box Hill, and Policina will have to go chase after that ball and fairway away. Looks like Sakalis will now be in charge and directing play with her hands and what she expects from her players in the box. Well, Policina collects the ball and strides confidently. Places it down, insistent on taking the corner herself. Plays it short to Sakalis. Sakalis had a look up, scooping ball, and headed back away from goal. Sandhu. And a heavy deflection in the end off Sakalis. So a goal kick here for South Melbourne. And a brief respite from danger that Box Hill was imposing on them in the past couple of minutes. As it stands at the moment, it's Box Hill with 70% of the possession in this game. Just 30% according to the statistics at hand. Yamano again trying to swing it centrally. Beautifully cut off by Taranto. Again, we're just seeing a lot of ball going back and forth. No one able to break free of this midfield as of yet, so the defenders having to look to play within themselves. Now Sandhu making it very difficult for Alice. And that is the outcome that South Melbourne were really wanting and pressing for. I'm curious to see if Taranto uses this extended run back of the ball as a run-up, or takes her time and surveys her options, and goes to Sandhu. Sakalis trying to break free of the South Melbourne pack. Furukawa Directs it goal, so it bounces out the hands. And just wide in the end by Vlanich. Hasn't scored so far this season, but has been a pretty consistent goal scorer throughout our time in the NPLW. Scored twice against Box Hill while playing for Bulleen Lions. As the clouds start to shift darker here at Lakeside, and the wind has been consistent since the first whistle. The players likely warmed up into this wintry day, but temperature is dropping. Parberry looks to play down the line. Teixeira has had a difficult task this afternoon trying to break free of Vlanich. And flashes past the face of goal. And hefty deflection means it'll stay in possession for Box Hill. Rossi. Taranto just doing just enough to win that ball back in a tight situation. Now Doralis. And somehow Sophia Zakalis is just so quick on her feet to track back and at least hold up play there from Doralis, who's also another player who's had a fantastic goal scoring rate. Scored 3 so far this season and scored a couple in the Nike FC Cup as well, including in the first minute of that semi-final on Wednesday and in round 5, and also a brace in round 4. So 6 goals, rather 7 goals this year so far for South Melbourne across all competitions. Imano now, the quick change up working in favour, and ball pumps long, and in fact a little bit too long for Misha Westland to run into. As the drums start to sound out here at Lakeside. Box Hill's still trying to find a way to progress. Swung back. Murakami. Palueta decides to play back to a keeper. Sakalis. Beautiful long boot on her, but again, just couldn't time it with the run of Policina. Seemingly has been the decision from both teams to really try and put that ball long to break free of the congestion in the middle of the park, but both these teams have some quality players, which means they can run into that space just fine. Now, and then cut off well again by Alan Parberry. Imano would have broken completely free here. Teixeira on the other side. Parberry floats it in. Sakalis down in the box and couldn't quite connect, and was just trying to gain that ultimate momentum to swing that ball in and really cause some damage. Alice. Imano just trying to do everything on her own down that left flank. Guzman. Brought down well by Katie Cox. And Cox remains the leading goal scorer for this Box Hill side this season. The Americans been great at breaking free at opportune moments. And again, ball won well by Doralis. Plays it back to Taranto. Westland. Taranto really loaded up that leg to make sure that ball could carry the distance. But again, Sakala's just putting her body to block. She's been always a consistent, great read of the play and just putting herself in the right position. Vlanich looks to go long. It's not too bad of a strike at all for TJ Vlanich. Sails over the crossbar, but not by much. Really looking for that first goal of the season for her. Hasn't scored since Alamein last year, 24th of August. So one of the last rounds of the season. Well, call coming from TJ Vlanich that we need to press. Calling upon her team to really slot back into action. Vlanich connecting with Teixeira. Teixeira conceding the foul. And Vlanich just going to rub the groin a bit. She's had reoccurring soft tissue injuries, especially in that groin and calf area in recent years. 34 years of age, has been a stalwart in this competition for many, many years. And of course, in the A-League Women, was one of the foundation players at Western United alongside her captain, Imano. Of course, played at Melbourne City beforehand and returned to Melbourne City for their most recent season. The Crown Premiers had that undefeated home and away, but unfortunately going out for them in that two-legged semi-final against eventual champions Central Coast Mariners, who Teresa Morrissey sat on the bench for in the grand final. Doralis for Okawa. And then right before that quick change of possession, saw Sakala's go to the ground and look to see if there was any call to be made. And great work from Policine to win the ball, and Burns standing tall. South Melbourne looking to snap a losing runners of late. They've had back-to-back losses. And now Rossi looking to bring that ball a bit more central and cut off by Hafferden. Olivia Ellis doing great work there. Held the captain's armband for the majority of the season until Policina came back in. Scored the goal of the week in that 5-0 thrashing of Brunswick Juventus back in round 12. Alashina. Furukawa. And now potential opportunity for Box Hill bouncing off. And again, find it's just the power in that clearing boot. It's been a real asset for any team that she plays in. Fastly approaching that half-hour mark, and there hasn't been too many clear-cut chances for either team. And I tell you, that opportunity in that strike we saw from Vlanic from a fair distance, probably the best of the opportunities so far. That one just slightly off target. Nothing has been too troublesome for either goalkeeper as of yet. Sakalis bounces off. Rossi. That'll be a goal kick. Hey, Rogi. Calling to switch up sides. You bring in a bit more narrow. And the call is Franny's there on the switch. So Yamano's keeping that width in her positioning in case the ball comes clearer. And that is that clearing ball. Switch of play, and Parberry just had the quickness of foot. Didn't allow it to come forward. Attacked it with aggression and intent. Parberry swings it in. It floats back and off the head. And South Melbourne, arguably, I think, lucky to get a goal kick in that situation. But that was beautiful build-up play. All starting from the work, again, of Owen Parberry, who does so much in that transitional phase to both win ball and then create attacks for Box Hill United. The press showing to be effective in recent minutes for Box Hill. Zakalis waiting for the ball to drift off wide as the wind knocks down the advertising boards on both sides. South Melbourne playing into the wind this half. Durrell's brought down. Play continues on. Murakami versus Sandu. And South Melbourne gain possession. Well, Flane is showing a praise to her captain for the run from Yamano. You've seen her in recent seasons being played at that left back, but I guess when you have the ability of a player of Vlanic's quality to come in, of course both of them can pretty much intertwine and play either of those positions. Ergi losing the ball in a difficult situation. A lot of support from Byrne to just come in and make sure that Rossi was never able to get that shot away. Now South Melbourne look to threaten Guzman. Out wide to Yamano. The flag immediately goes up, and that's the end of that run of attack for South. Yamano goes down for a moment. Well, she did start in both the Cup game on Wednesday and played last week against Brunswick Juventus. Of course, Box Hill United having an unexpected week off last week. They were due to play FE Emerging. That game's been now postponed until in a couple of weeks. Till the 8th of August. Just So, I'm telling that since Box Hill last played against Bentley Greens on the 4th of July, it's been 2 full games for South Melbourne. So, the pointy end of the season, a lot of minutes coming through some of these players. And Yamato seems to be fine, just getting a little bit of treatment on what looks to be that left hamstring and left leg on the side of the pitch. Alachino. Blanche, powerful strike across. You can see the intent is always to look for that run of Yamano, who's still running through her paces on the side of the pitch. So it looks like we'll have a really early substitution here with Yamano coming off and the introduction of Eva Kokotis. The 18-year-old just scored. Of course, made the move across from the Football Vic Academy mid-season. Scored for Football Vic in round 2 against South Melbourne. Now playing for South. Of course, Eva Goodsmith was at FE Academy, was captaining the side until the transfer window, and now has come across to play in the South side as well. Was player of the week a couple of weeks ago. Ben. Parberry. Back to Murakami. Happening. Lineage. Sanu just able to move towards that ball to not let any opportunity for the Box Hill player right on her tail to have a good look in. Displeasure coming from the Box Hill bench for Polisina's efforts there. They'll press with the defensive work and immediately onto the pitch. Kokotis now just slotting immediately into that left wing position. So it looks like it has been a positional swap for swap there. Another player's been moved around, and Imano on the bench. Westland over the top. And in the end, just really interested in listening to what TJ Vlanich has been saying to her players in this game. Of course, definitely the most senior in age, but arguably one of the most senior in experience, considering what she's been able to achieve domestically and internationally as well. Provides a real leadership on the pitch, whatever team she's playing for. Rossi, ball at her feet. Angle being cut off, but brought back in. And into the back of the net by Sienna Teixeira. And Box Hill take the lead. It was a beautifully well-worked goal from Box Hill, and Teresa Morrissey's come all the way up the pitch to celebrate her side taking the lead as visitors here at Lakeside. And Shekchera just was in the optimum spot. In the end, left more or less undefended. And all the time in the world to just place that pass or to place that ball right into the back of the net. So we get back underway here. South now leading at home. Of course, needing to get a result here to keep them in finals contention. Had that run of losses, as mentioned, as of late, and they've only lost the one game at home so far. And that was 2 weeks ago against league leaders Heidelberg United. Also lost last week to Brunswick Juventus. Just hasn't been many opportunities in this game so far. That was absolutely the clearest opportunity for Box Hill in the game that has resulted in that all-important goal to give them the lead with around 10 minutes to go until half-time. Shara again, just able to get and the young Kokotis running out of space in the end, both Policina and Katie Cox. Really shepherding her towards the line. Smart work from Tekchera just to turn those hips at the last moment to let the ball sail out without actually putting a touch on it. Box Hill with the switch up of play. Down the line to Sakalis. Furukawa. Alachino really left with minimal options, but other than just to safely see that ball sent out of play. Corner kick given to South Melbourne. Will they have the opportunity to get a reply to Box Hill before that halftime whistle? Vlanich running from pretty much the opposite side of the pitch to take the corner kick. Vlanich, lovely floating delivery and straight into the hands of Morrissey. Wasn't too far from being completely on target for an Olympico. Has the the Jets to run right back. It was very ambitious there from Rihanna Polisena to pretty much try and make her way 10 metres or so down the pitch. Connie Van Diesen, the referee of the year last year, was of course awarded both the Nike FC Cup and the NPLW Grand Final. So put a quick stop to that. Cox going toe-to-toe with Alana Byrne. Westland having to go deep to try and bring that ball out. And Doralis brought down. So it'll be a throw for South Melbourne. Doralis looking to Westland. Quick work. Guzman lets the ball go onto her feet. Vlanic. Kokotis. And a big round of applause from the Box Hill bench, who have been really impressed. Beautiful long throw from Vlanic to Doralis, but Box Hill now looking to strike quickly on that counter attack. Rossi really trying to stage and stagger her run there. Sakalis doing well to keep the ball at her feet. And the pace brought back down and a bit of composure on display as we quickly approach that 45-minute mark. Alacino. Westland just trying to connect just the very least a toe to it and couldn't quite direct that pass with enough force to meet Furukawa. Tracy Alacino straight onto it. Well, now deep into stoppage time. Can't expect to be too much. There's that injury to Yamano, but who's quickly off to the side of the pitch. So has been too many stoppages in this first half. Box Hill really playing almost like a game of cat and mouse here, just keeping possession, just wearing down the clock, playing it between Alacino and Palawota. No real desire to give South the ball or create their own attacks. They want to keep that safety in their lead going into the Cheds at halftime. And Courtney Van Diesen blows the whistle. Well, we haven't seen too many opportunities in the first half here at Lakeside in this round 17 clash between South Melbourne and Box Hill. But Box Hill had really one strong opportunity, and that's all they needed, combining the work of Karina Rossi and Sienna Chekchera to score that goal, which means we'll see the score at halftime, South Melbourne 0, Box Hill 1. And of course, that early substitution for South Melbourne captain Francesca Iamano. Looks like that left hamstring was really quite troublesome. And of course, the stats in this game: 3 shots to 2. Just the. Let's go. We're back here for the start of the second half between South Melbourne and Box Hill United. Well, wasn't many opportunities towards goal for either team in that first 45 minutes, but it was that breakaway from Karina Rossi in the end, put in the back of the net by Sienna Teixeira, which has provided all the difference here in this round 17 clash. Not many rounds left to go before finals. Of course, we did see that relatively early substitution about a minute or two before the goal was scored. And South Melbourne captain Franny Iamano having to go to the bench with what looked to be a hamstring injury. Brought in young gun Eva Kokotis. As both teams look to set up. To the eye, I can't see any immediate changes for either side, and the temperatures feel like they have significantly dropped since the start of this game. It's been fairly windy conditions as well. Now Box Hill playing into the with the wind in their favour, arguably, and South Melbourne playing into the wind in the second half. Box Hill starting how they finished that final minute or two of play in the first, which is passing between the centre backs. Ayana Aogi, the goalkeeper for South Melbourne in this match. Really vocal. Murakami just applying that pressure on Akeisha Sandhu. And beautifully picked up Sakalis. Sophia Sakalis. Well, she had time and space, just couldn't connect that shot towards goal. Had so much power behind it and beautifully picked off by Box Hill. Just been able to press really well against the South Melbourne defence and catch them off guard. It's how they were able to score that first goal. Alice, a force of the header, just knocks her back onto her own back, and Furukawa trying to come through. Sakalis. Byrne has to off-balance it. Well, we've seen 3 players in quick succession go down, all falling backwards. This time the foul called in favour of Box Hill. Ellis. Lightness of touch just to progress the ball forward. Byrne. In the end, corner 1. Karina Rossi has been causing a lot of headaches. Cole's still just 17 years of age. The short corner on display here. So Carlos and Policina combining once more. Policina goes down, but waved away quite quickly. Cox up in Parberry rather up in support. Cockatoo just running out of room without the support, and it does seem like that is the play here from Box Hill, just to really box her in and Teixeira. Long pass and straight. Arguably could have been judged to be a cross or a strike. I'm sure she'll tell you it was more intended to be a cross, but straight into the hands of Ayagi. Polisena could see the move there from Murakami. Murakami want to keep the ball moving. Hot on her tail. It's Fujikawa. Ball just going back and forth in quick succession. Teixeira and spinning one way or the other, trying to look for some open space. Eventually finds it in a more central corridor for Alachino, and again, ball pump long. And Polisena's been caught out a couple of times now, just with the little grabs and tugs. That time on Eve Guzman. So Carlos is really chasing there. Byrne looking a little bit of space now. Less pressure. The offsides again now starting to build up in this match as well. We're fastly approaching the hour mark. As the wind continues to blow really strongly here at Lakeside. Somewhat curious if it is affecting the energy of the players on the pitch. It hasn't been such a frenetic game. Of course, both teams very important in terms of their season to potentially progress. Of course, and South sitting on back-to-back losses, having won in the semi-final, bring themselves into the Nike FC Cup final to be held on August 10th at the home of the Matildas. conversation taking place between Courtney Van Diesen, the referee, Alana Byrne, and Karina Rossi. Both players being spoken to. And from what I could hear, both players continue with this. They'll be both getting a yellow card. Rena Policina also having a chat with the assistant referee too. So Box Hill certainly feel like they have the upper hand both in the score and the opportunities they seem to be creating. Policina now looking to go long. Alice. So looking at the possession stat, it's still really heavily favouring Box Hill. They're currently sitting at 64% possession to 36 according to the statistics. 3 free kicks in favour of Box Hill, 5 for South Melbourne. And it's still just that one shot on target. Can Policina add to another beautifully placed ball? Alacino. There'll be another corner kick one. Nikki Furukawa doing so much work from playing predominantly up in that right wing position. We've seen a couple of short corners on display from Box Hill and looking to play short a lot. And looking at the setup here, it seems like it'll be another short corner on display. Well, Policina puts the hand up in the air. This time maybe some variance in the attack. Great delivery. Murakami, beautiful strike. And that would have been some goal if that was able to go in. But another deflection, we'll see it be another corner here. Well, Box Hill really in control of this match consistently. Tegan Morrissey, a fair way off her line. Wouldn't be surprised if she's intending to come up to celebrate once more. We saw her travel almost the full length of the field to celebrate after that goal from Sienna Teixeira. Policina goes the distance again. Off the head of Teixeira. Bounces about in the 6-yard box, and eventually Ayana Yogi able to just go onto the ball and really stop what has been a very attacking last couple of minutes in Box Hill's favour and to South's detriment. We do have a player waiting in the wings for South Melbourne. No call. Oh, so the substitution will happen. I wasn't quite sure if there was a bit of a miscommunication there. So coming off is Akeisha Sandu, celebrated her birthday this week, and coming on is number 46, Catherine Moll. Just her 3rd appearance for the year. Scored 4 goals and 15 appearances in the under-20s. Was on the bench last week as well. On the bench rather for the semi-final of the Nike FC Cup. Still just 18 years of age, so been getting some minutes in recent weeks. Played a full round back in round 10 against the Royals and was a substitute in round 5 against Brunswick Juventus, and then called upon this time. Of course, Keisha Sandu, player coming off birthday this week, and was one of the co-captains in that championship-winning year back in 2023, alongside Danielle McAuliffe, who is away this season, is not playing the season as she waits the birth of her first child. Hafferton. A fair long way out, so not too much of a dangerous position here for South Melbourne. Takes a couple of looks before, in the end choosing to drive centrally. Furukawa is there, able to connect with her head, and eventually it's Barberi just again trying to clear it as long as possible. Yana Aogi providing a lot of volume. With the points as they stand as well, it's 22 points for Box Hill, 27 for South Melbourne, but live score will be 25 and 27, and hopefully the season creep up the ladder a little bit more. Goodsmith. Beautiful delivery. And Kokotis just couldn't get it in, but at least cause a deflection. That'll be a goal kick for Box Hill. The wind has subsided a little bit now, and still conditions. Dorala's having to just hurdle over the sliding feet coming towards her. Does look like there is a player down. No. Policina gets her feet slowly. Sakalis, again, wonderful delivery, as to be expected from a player of her quality. Flashes past, comes off the hand, wasn't able to quite. Cox just using the muscle there. Ball comes back out to her. Puts it on the left. Sakalis. Policina! And wide. Stronger team built-up play there from Box Hill. Great work on display. Seen some awkward angles coming towards South Melbourne goalkeeper Ayagi a couple times, and she's only been able to parry away, which just means the ball bobbles around the box, gives another opportunity to Box Hill, and the threat of their attackers who've looked so strong in this game. Teixeira, who was our victory this season, as was Sakalis and Rossi and Policina at City. They're pretty star-studded front four of players. Doralis, Kokotis, and Palawoda, who's been very impressive, as has Elmer Barberi. Together they've just been able to really nullify any of the attacks coming down that side. Palawoda, of course, an Australian futsal rep from the ACT, knows how to really control the ball in tight situations. And Barberi, another player who celebrated a birthday this week, so plenty of birthdays around the pitch for both teams. Box Hill players have gone back to warm up. Haven't seen any changes to the side as of yet. Well, Vlanic wins the corner for a side. Straight into the calves of Palawoda, and looks like the young Catherine Mull play to take. And the wind has picked up once more, particularly at that corner. And again, we saw this really early in the match where Connie Van Diesen had to have a conversation with the players. It's a very specific conversation with, and it will be a yellow card for Teresa Morrissey. The first yellow card of the game so far. Will eventuate in a goal kick for Box Hill. So South Melbourne still yet to register a shot on target in this match. Alagino back to Palawoda. Again, trying to just avoid just the absolute congestion in the midfield by pumping it long. Furukawa rather. Wins the corner. Had a brilliant run of form in the opening round. Scored in a brace in round 2, one in round 3, another brace in round 4, and a singular goal in round 5. Scored the winner in the semi-final on Wednesday, and also scored in round 4 of the Nike FC Cup. So has had proven goal scoring across the 17 games she's featured in this season. And Grace Taranto will be the second player into the book for this match. So you'll have to think that some of the accumulation of fouls are really starting to catch up with these players. Has been too much in the game itself, but potentially now it's starting to play into the decision making. Box Hill also look likely to be on substitution soon. Plenty of goal scorers on the bench for them. Sakalis to check Chera. Podberry. And just, again, well, Box Hill bench very confident that that was a corner kick rather than a goal kick, but there will be that substitution. So coming off for Box Hill will be Maho Murakami, and coming on, number 27, Nicolina Bacalo. Celebrated her 100th game back in round 12. First substitution we've seen for Box Hill. Well, Kalina Bacalo has had goal scoring form against South Melbourne in previous years. Last year she scored in that round 2 game against them. Also scored 6 in the last 5 rounds to finish off 2024. So has had 16 appearances. So this will be a 16th appearance of the season so far. Just hasn't found the back of the net as of yet. I'm curious to see what position she'll be placed in. Fast work from South and a lot of players tracking back. Misha Westland has eyes for Sophia Sakalas to make sure that she won't be left on her lonesome in case there is some sort of quick counter-attack at play. Goodsmith. Goodsmith high, floaty delivery. Taranto attempts to strike off balance and far away. Again, that one goal we saw scored around that 34th minute mark by Sienna Teixeira. The work done in front by Karina Rossi. Really the only thing that's separating these two sides at the moment. Box Hill having had the lion's share of possession and what seems to be an attack, and the collision there between two South Melbourne players in Westland and Cocotis. Policina almost using the outside of that boot to just push it long for Teixeira. Almost fumbled at the fingers by Morris, who does well to recover and keep her feet to not allow it to slip through her legs. And Teixeira so quick to get back on her feet. Both players hitting the deck hard, but it's become an increasingly scrappy affair. I'm sure we'll definitely hear the referee blow a whistle more and more times as this game continues, just because it's both sides now showing a bit of desperation. It's been at times arguably a little bit flat, but the intensity has risen the longer this game is continuing. I think also both teams having sufficiently warmed into the second half. Now the quick switch over play again. Barry so confident with the ball at her feet, puts it long. And again, just that bounce too far for Rossi. She puts the thumb up in appreciation. It was the right style of play. The foul conceded there by Blanich. See, potentially another substitution really shortly. This time for South Melbourne. The third window that they have used throughout this match, so potentially the last substitution for them. Again, a lot of these players have been playing heavy minutes as of late. See that unfortunate injury to captain Francesca Iamano. Cox. Piccolo with just enough time to turn, but the end cut off well. Westland donning the captain's armband. And the flag immediately goes up. So the substitution will have to wait a little while longer. Well, now call for that substitution. So Eva Gutzman coming off, and in turn, Isabella Selwood's been used predominantly as a substitute this season. Only the one start came off at halftime, and now this will be her 7th substituted on appearance. Her 160th appearance in the NPLW. And just the ball just hanging back in that line. So Carlos, again, just wonderful control. Well, we've seen repetitively this combination of Sakalis and Policina, and they have a quick conversation between the two of them. A conversation as well happening between Taranto and the referee is already on a yellow card in this match. We'll have to be very careful after conceding that foul there on Katie Cox. Well, this time Alacino and Policina seem to be standing over the ball, so usually when this situation happens, we see Carlos just lurking right along the line of the 18-yard box, which does seem to be the case again. Policina floats in the cross. Another corner this time. So many of those stats, the corners, the fouls won, really Box Hill bring out those numbers. Still yet to register a shot on target for South Melbourne in this match. 2 shots total for them in this game. And, of course, 4 for Box Hill. They're just the singular shot on target now resulted in that goal. And that's all they've needed so far. Policina. And great work. Just a metre off the line from Taranto to make sure that that ball was going to head towards the back of the net. Again, another opportunity starting to open up as we've surpassed that 80th minute mark, and looks like we'll see another change for Box Hill very shortly. And that change will now come. So Karina Rossi, who was instrumental in setting up that first goal, will come off, and Gabrielle Simpson, who scored the last time they played, will be the player entering the pitch. Teixeira looking to cross it in and floats over the back of Sakalas. There's 4 defenders for South Melbourne there to semi-attack, but immediately Bacalo still wins back possession. See why that South Melbourne haven't, well, no leading in this match, haven't conceded too many goals this season. Just 18 goals conceded, the goal distance of 14. They just haven't been able to find their rhythm in attacking this match. They've scored 5 more goals than Box Hill have this season. But the opportunities in this game have been few and far between. As the flag goes up and puts another end to that attack. So Nikki Furukawa, again, just starting and getting it moving for South Melbourne, but in the end, I've seen a few times they've just been caught out by the flag and by the positioning. And Vlanic almost going completely over the top of Teixeira and the jump up high. Gives away almost a full head of height away to the young attacker, but Simpson and Furukawa taken down, and that will be another yellow, this time to Nicolina Bacalo. There wasn't many to begin. Didn't see a first yellow until that 66-minute mark to one to Box Hill keeper Teresa Morrissey, but steadily more and more players coming into the book. South Melbourne play it quickly. Byrne goes for that lofty pass, or lofty attempt at a cross, and encourages a strong grab from Morrissey. Policina. Again, using the outside of that foot. Beautiful work to Simpson. Tries to cut it inside for a moment. Westland has to step off to not concede any sort of foul or penalty. And the end shot was on target, but just not enough power to give any trouble whatsoever to Yana Yogi. So that's just the second shot on target for the match here in the 85th minute. Now Alice striving towards goal. It was in a tight angle. Policina goes to ground, and it'll be a free kick just outside the box. Well, something definitely within range for both Policina and Sakalis. So with less than 5 minutes of regular time to go. Curious to see. You can't help but think that this will be a direct attempt on goal. The wall set up. Will it be a curling effort from Rihanna Policina? Policina not far off. Those top bins, left-hand corner, just sails over. It's a strong opportunity for Box Hill to double their lead, but just again, the shots on target just haven't been coming in through thick and fast in this game. There's been only the two, both for Box Hill, in this match. Sakalis waiting for it to bounce, doesn't go for the ball, it brings it down and just and this time Sakalis gives away the foul. And immediately Box Hill just win the ball back. It's what we've seen time and time again in this game. Westland, Furukawa looks up. Not many players close in support. Has to play it for the throw more or less. Shut down by Parberry. Blanich. Again, knowing that Palawoda was there and shutting down everything. It'll be a corner kick to South Melbourne, which almost looks like what they've been trying to play for the past minute. Just haven't been able to break through and creating clear-cut chances themselves. So looking to try and make something of these dead ball situations. Blanich to take. It won't be quite the in-swinger. A lower delivery this time, and first player on the mark. A long distance strike by Stewards, but again picked up well. And that's the first shot on target for the match for South Melbourne, coming in the 89th minute. There's life left in this game. South looking to press. So at the end of the first half, how much that Box Hill wanted to just play the ball around between themselves. Well, time ticking down. Well, fourth official, Labrini Ulialis, has said there will be a minimum of 3 minutes of time added on in this match. Box Hill will look to make another late sub. As it stands, of course, Box Hill continue on their little undefeated run as of late. Haven't lost since round 10. A win, 3 wins and 2 draws, including this will potentially be their third consecutive win. All potentially aligning from when Rihanna Policina's come back in, and Simpson just more or less stopped in her tracks there. Ball clashing heavily from Furukawa and some friendly fire. Looks like the switch over sides, which has been placed for a couple of minutes now. So that change will happen for Box Hill with Sienna Tekchera, the goal scorer in this match, coming off, and Georgia Karaparidis coming on. Scored 3 goals. Injury saw missed games after round 11. Substituted roughly around the same time in round 15, the last game that Box Hill played. Of course, they missed last week. That game's been rescheduled to the 8th of August. Karapidis getting involved early. Simpson. Sakala still running as fast as she can in the 93rd minute. That pass just cut back, but the wrong angle for the players running into. Cox. Paberi having to shrug off the defenders. Policina hold it here, valuably trying to waste some time, push it off the opposition. It's another throw deep. At least 2 minutes of time has been played now, so really potentially in the last 60 seconds of this match, we saw Vlanish looks to go up and away, and well-timed tackle from Bukolo. Karapidis coming in immediately, causing havoc as well on the ball. The frustration is becoming very evident for South Melbourne. Of course, they'll be going away next week to Springside to play against Spring Hills, and it will be Box Hill against the league leaders Heidelberg next week at home. So both tough opportunities for these teams, and Box Hill knowing how desperate and important these 3 points on offer are. If they can just keep a hold of the ball, they've gone past the allotted minimum of 3 minutes to now. Waiting that whistle from referee Courtney Van Deesen. The foul. So what potentially could have been the last attack for South Melbourne, halted because of the foul conceded from Sakalis. Really taking her time here. And Courtney Van Deesen blows a whistle, and it's a very important victory for Box Hill United. They take all 3 points on the road against South Melbourne at Lakeside, handing them just their second loss at home this season, and then keeps their hopes and dreams for finals alive as we head into the real back end of this Victorian NPLW season. A clean sheet on the road as well. And important moments from some of the superstars, of course, who play across A-League women. Sakalis and Policina stepping up, creating so many opportunities But it was two of the younger A-League women's superstars in terms of Karina Rossi, who set up that goal and handed the goal on a platter for Sienna Teixeira to drive the ball home. And that was the difference today, that goal in the 34th minute. Unfortunate scenes for South Melbourne as captain Franny Amano came off in that 34th minute. It looked to be a hamstring issue. But a brilliant... Look at lots of shots as well as minimal shots. Only the one shot on target for South Melbourne, the two for Box Hill. But that's all was needed today. Hope you've enjoyed our coverage here of the Victorian NPLW. My name's Georgia Raj. It's been a pleasure joining you here today in what has been my 50th game of football commentary. I'll be back with you very shortly for more football. Make sure you stay tuned on the NPL Victoria YouTube page.